Such weeb, such wow. And how are all of you doing this evening? Welcome back to the Blue Rose Respite. Oh boy, it's been. I wish today had been a little bit more productive, but that's okay, I'm still getting shit done one bit at a time. I hope all of you are having a wonderful, wonderful week. And if it hasn't been the best, that's okay, we're all here to relax and unwind together. I just noticed that the chat box is not working properly, so I'm going to try and fix that. Give me just a moment, my lovelies. Yes, I noticed the chat wasn't popping up when the song was happening, the introduction, so I'm just trying to remedy that now. Just give me a minute while I just get the game up and running, and I'll make sure everything's running smoothly. There we go. So not looking forward to going back to work on Friday. Oh, it always sucks when you haven't been at work for a while and then you have to go back. But I hope when you do go back that it's smooth sailing and that it all runs well. Because yeah, I've got a new temp assignment starting tomorrow, so it looks to be much more promising than what I had to do last week, which was an event I'm looking forward to forgetting. But anyway, that is in the past, and we have the future to look forward to. So, just a second. There we go. Now it's showing up properly. Thank you so much for your patience. Let's get the show running now. Where last we left our intrepid group of friends, Ashton finally came to a realization of some things may be a little bit out of his control with this case, as sinister, unseen threats continue to linger around his friends, and he wants to get to the bottom of this. He and Isabella, they went to the real estate agency, looked through some documents to get some factual evidence, as unfortunately Ashton's been taken off the case, but he's still pushing onwards because he's so damn close to cracking it. After a very close encounter with the ghost, or this strange female spectre that keeps on appearing time and again, the two of them managed to escape, but they couldn't quite escape the feels. As unfortunately Isabella's father had passed away and she had to slowly start processing this, as well as all these other horrors that are happening to her. Thankfully Ashton was there to help comfort her in her time of need. So we start off tonight's adventure continuing down the elevator after a very tense encounter with the ghost. Let us continue, shall we? I hope it's not too much of a mess, Shadow. Sorry. Yeah, I hope it's not too much of a mess and that it's not too much of a headache when you go back. Best of luck to you. And hey, Final Booking, welcome back. And Cat Skater, how's it going? Welcome back, guys. Great to see you again. I don't want to believe it. But with the truth staring at me in the face, it'll be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, we hightail out of the building. Seb's sound asleep when we pass by his station. However, in the face of what we've seen, everything I face tonight, we really can't care less about who will see us on our way out. The sooner we get away from this place, the farther, the better. I'm just not sure if it also means being safe. She almost got us, damn it. The fucking thing almost had us. Shit, it was only by luck that we managed to get the fucking elevator unstuck. Had the blaster thing not working in the last second. I need some air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking. Christ, losing focus. With another person here, I can't afford that right now. Isabella hasn't said anything, but I know she's more shaken than I am. Can't lose it when there's another person depending on me.
Remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I'm starting the engines and driving us off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped. Luxman Park brings a welcome relief, though only by some. The chill that has seeped in my bones is still there, furling and unfurling beneath my skin. If I don't move, if I don't busy myself with anything, soon my brain will go haywire. It's the last thing I want to happen when there are plenty of things to do. But this already answers all of it, doesn't it? Those deaths? Just how many copies of the letter are out there? Isabella can't have the only one if other people are also getting cursed. Could it be that the one she has shown is just one of 5? Maybe even more? That whole pass this to 5 people business is ridiculous. But at this point, is it still? All in all, we found 21 people who might have read the letter. 7 of them deceased. 8 if we count Cooper. And that's only what we can find right now. We have no idea how the contractors and specialists hired from outside the company are doing, if they are in any way affected. How many more people are suffering? How many are missing? How many are dead? Can I still even blame the Wrights for this? If anything, they might be in danger as well. If Luke's in a bit of danger, maybe that's not too bad. I don't think I can wish a curse upon anyone, no matter how big of a douchebag Luke Wright is. Okay, nice to see you've got some barriers. Hey Garrett, how's it going? Welcome back. Great to see you again. There's also that woman. How do we get out of this mess? How do we get away from her? Shit. Still so many things we need to look into. Yet all my body wants to do is pace, burn out whatever excess energy there is in me.
Ashton, I'm getting dizzy. Will you sit down?
It's the first time Isabella has said anything. She's been sitting quietly since we dropped here. Better and less distracting than watching her nervous habits, I suppose. She certainly seems calm now. Too calm, in fact, for someone who has just seen something terrible. But it's been more than a week for her already. People do get desensitized to things at some point. Even someone like Isabella. Who knows what's going on inside her head, though? Inside mine, there are too many and none of them would sit still.
I'm not going crazy, am I? I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw that. I didn't inhale anything weird. Just shit. Shit. Isabella, please tell me that wasn't...
What I'm not expecting when I turn to her is mirth. One that she can barely contain.
You're laughing.
That shit-eating grin, Isabella.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Results! I'm not quite sure what she sees in my face, but in the next second a laugh suddenly bursts out from her. I'm so sorry, it's just that you should have seen the look on your face back there. Yes, right, sure. Not the one who panicked. You almost ripped my arm off. Yeah, but... Isabella, this isn't funny. That woman almost got us. We could have ended up dead.
I know, I'm really sorry. But this is just too precious to miss. You really lost your shit for a moment there.
You're trying to get back at me, aren't you?
Well, I'm not the one who kept calling someone scaredy cat for years. How does it feel?
I'm not scared.
Really? Because it doesn't seem that way to me. At all.
I'm not, alright? I'm just... I just don't know what to do right now.
Immediately after, the moment passes, replaced by another tense silence. Laughter dies in her lips as everything sinks in. We're in deep shit, and it's finally caught up and hit us like a ton of bricks. Hit me more than anyone. Because she's been warning us of this since day one, and I'm the first person who brushed it off. Despite that, she still reaches out to me, tugging at my sleeve, almost desperately. Her hands are trembling and there's a tremor in her voice when she speaks. Without the cheer, only fear remains. One that she has been burdened with from the beginning.
We're still going to do something about it, right? Not just stand around and let that thing get us.
Unexpectedly, she leans her forehead against my arm, and her grip on my sleeve tightens. But there's desperation in there, a quiet plea.
Don't want to lose anyone anymore, Ash.
I wish I could give her that promise, but with so many unknowns, so many things I don't understand about this, how could I? Why she still trusts that I can do something about this baffles me. It all feels wholly undeserved, considering the way I've treated her. Yet, despite my reluctance, I find myself returning her hold in kind. A grasp, warm and light enough for comfort. Not a promise, but the closest thing to it. Aww. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing tones of her laughter. A scream threatens to burst when my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There is only fear. Once again her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colours. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that have driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams from the open windows when the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly towards her prone form. She's hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head while she continues to rest. Then, to the chaos of papers and folders we've left scattered over it, before sleep has claimed both of us. We've bunkered down here last night. After both our nerves have calmed down, mine for the most part, staying together was an unspoken invitation. And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that woman. I love the pillow as well, it's so cute. And I love the plush sheep as well. Boop. Boop. Is she still one in the first place? One that we normally call a human? Can I still feel guilt? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck. I'd rather get charged for breaking and entering than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about this still matters, when all our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing Daisy soon. I can't let that happen. Hey, Bot Commander, how's it going? Welcome back. Great to see you. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and the adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The papers sitting on the edge of the table calls my attention. At this, light against my hand when I reach for it. It's caught my eye the night before, but with the lot we still need to go through, I've simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned at the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
Isabella? Are you gonna follow your dreams, honey? I've only ever heard her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She rarely goes on about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's the fact that she already thinks she's too old to be chasing after it. It's been 5 years after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversation between her and Zack to know she's never given up on it. Despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound, coming from a friend, I'd like to give her the chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring what the deal with this curse is, I'll do so. If only to see that same smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moments she seems to show it is when she's asleep, like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. I smile of my own forms, despite this, when I glance at her sleeping form again. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it, carefully, so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself off my makeshift bed. Isabella shifts when I carry her off from the floor and over to her bed, but doesn't wake, simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers I pull over her. Briefly, though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
Oh, so cute! She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after, like it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movements earlier, but the small smile on her lips remain. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about our problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing I don't want to take away from her. A moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it, after everything she's been put through, what I've put her through. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them. Cold Luxman air meets me upon stepping out to the hallway. Not unusual in itself. This is what Luxman's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not, terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky's still clear, but I'll give it a day or two, before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here most of my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to the usual feels extremely reassuring. At least, something's still normal in the world, and I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I've often told myself, isn't it? And I fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem, if I haven't been running away and ignoring things, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've been since believed doing so as a show of weakness.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What does Zack? What does Rebecca? Z-Man has shown me photographs, mentioned weird things happening about him these past few days. Bottom line, he likely knows about this as much about this as I do. Why else would he approach me? The guy who knows stuff, according to him. In the end, all I've done is give him the brush off. Some reliable guy I am. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do, when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zack have seen it. I've seen it too. She'll go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up Becca's door one slow step at a time. A stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this? When there's a 90% chance she's still pissed about a whole different matter. It's the only reason we didn't check on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. will only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Becca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times just to be sure she has heard me, even if she is asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and in the next minute, concern is mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash. There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up, I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy. So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
My hand pauses short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's other neighbour peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help from being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole too. Course of action, so people like him won't ruin your day. Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks. Well, what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. Just looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git.
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams his door shut without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colourful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside the 4 walls of his apartment. Yeah, if you're... I don't know what time it is, but if you're making a commotion at, like, say, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you.
Jerk.
You're the jerk, Ashton, making noise. And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca's not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so. But at least she's not alone. She should be safe. In theory. More so, if the person she's meeting with is who I'm thinking. Nevertheless, I can't help but worry. It's an easy thing, continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there, without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zack, to boot. Rebecca's not alone, and I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to the both of them should do the trick. It'll ease my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zack's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts, and finding out they're not where I guess they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment, something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up with a group with only Zack, Rebecca's, and Isabella's numbers listed. Though people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've been acquainted with through the years. Colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbours, those sorts of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zack's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just there. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. That heavy, somber feeling lingering in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness. This carries much more depth than that. If I can help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with them right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children, already far from the people we were back then. But that's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it, instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know that she's fine. A ring. Silence of the hallway. The sound alone might just well be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2. 3. But when on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail. A cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. She's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Becca will see my missed call and she'll call me back. Ignore that. Though I don't express it enough, Becca is someone I consider important to me. She's been my friend for the longest. Anyone else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me no matter how big a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabella now too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. Sorry, I just have to say, Rebecca is adorable with those pigtails. Oh, and look at little Ash with the little anime hair. Just, it's so cute. So cute. No wonder you had a crush on this kid. You're just adorable. How could he not fall in love with you? So cute. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and a horrible teen. Issues. I've had too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think of nothing of it. It's mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. Oops. But at times I do wonder if it still burdens me the way they did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustration towards everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school to the neighbours I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I keep thinking about was myself, wondering, why me? In retrospect, I was a selfish little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believed my behaviour was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me. Snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend, nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
Another message left on her voicemail. Then on my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than to wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zach, on the other hand. That guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay at the very least, whatever he is planned on doing. All I'm asking for is not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation, His phone doesn't even ring before he answers. Or his voicemail, at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
Did he turn it off? Why? Don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he's forgotten to charge it. Can't be. That guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will likely be looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile is an out-of-range area sounds more plausible, though the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. And even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to. Well, I can't be rash, I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I'm certain my reaction won't be pretty. The added guilt from those times I've repeatedly dismissed him will surely haunt me.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to be put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me the most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of cool cop or helped out a minority. In truth, I was a hard-hearted, hot-tempered and reckless rookie, up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. I did get to see it, Garrett. It's feelings. It was the new cinematic for the new World of Warcraft expansion. It just came out. I think it's called Old Soldier, and the feels. So it feels. See, if the whole movie was like that, if the Warcraft movie was like that, I think it'd be so much better. Yeah, I don't play WoW at the moment, but the new expansion looks so cool. And cinematics like that just make me want to start playing again. Considering how our first impression went, I'm lucky he stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I'd call to a best friend, though it's more than that. Camaraderie no words can express. He has my back and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbour did say she went out to meet with someone, no specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I continue dialing for his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Becca's. In the end, after the third attempt with no one answering, I stop and cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is, then.
I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them, just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. Starting now, actually, the anxious feelings coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. It's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxman and Anselm isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only 2 people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair of either of them. With one last frustrated glance towards the open skies, I slip back into Isabella's apartment and slam the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part. More so when it's the people you care about.
Ash, did you really have to shut it like that?
This is not the first time I've seen Isabella like this. Standing casually by her kitchenette, ladle in hand, keeping an eye on whatever's stewing on the stove, while humming a soft tune under her breath. 5 years ago, it's become a common sight after the three of them, including Zack and Rebecca, found a mutual interest in cooking. After that, whenever our schedule allows it, one of them will invite everyone to dinner or lunch, instead of eating out. Rebecca prefers it that way. Healthier, she claims. Zack's just too happy to be able to cook for everyone. Isabella, on the other hand, as long as there's food, she's happy. Me, I've been banned from the kitchen ever since the pressure cooker incident. Easier times, good times. Right now, however, the scene brings an odd sense of normalcy, a strange fit with all the things going on around us. Not unwelcome, only bizarre, I suppose. Isabella doesn't follow up on her question earlier, but she does raise an eyebrow my way when I take too long to answer. For that, I only offer a casual shrug in response and a short answer.
I've checked with Zack and Rebecca. I'm just waiting to hear back from them.
I'll add in a quip or two for her, if the timing for a joke isn't off and doing so won't be inappropriate. Don't want to alarm her either. There's no reason to. Yet. Till I've received an answer from a Rebecca or a Zack, whichever comes first. Nevertheless, it's clear she has plenty of questions. It's right there in the subtle crease between her eyebrows and the inquisitive gleam in her eyes. Curious as she is, though, she decides against voicing all her questions out. Instead, she shifts her attention back to the stove and gestures vaguely with her hand in the couch's direction.
Well, if we're going to wait for them, don't stand around there. It's getting distracting.
You're just cooking. How am I distracting?
I don't know. Something might explode again, maybe. Zack's kitchen ban for you is also in effect here, you know. Now shoo, go. Stop hovering. You'll ruin the food. I'll be done here soon.
She leaves no room for an argument by swatting the ladle at me, and just like that I've been kicked out of the kitchen. Left with nothing else to do, I drift back to her tiny living space and slump down on the couch. Closing my eyes, I allow the noise of the television to guide my thoughts. The ones I've been keeping at bay, freeing them from the cage I've built around them, so I won't have to think. One by one they trickle back into my consciousness, each more frightening and unnerving than the other. So many things going on. So many things happening. The papers we've gotten from BRC don't provide any comfort either. Seriously, is there even a point to those after last night? All asking those people do. If anything, it's only proved there might be more copies of that dumb piece of paper. We have one here. How many exactly is there out there? More importantly, how do we get out of this stupid mess?
Ashton.
Damn it, I haven't felt this kind of bone-weary exhaustion in years.
I don't want to think what might happen next in case I miss something. Shit.
Rebecca, Zack, Isabella.
They're all depending on me and...
Ash!
The voice snaps me out of my thoughts, abruptly wiping away everything running a racket inside my head. Suddenly, Isabella's there, crouched in front of me when I crack an eye open. I haven't even noticed the exact moment when I bent over and buried my head in my hands. Figures why she's staring at me like I fainted or something. The crease in her eyebrows grows deeper from my lack of response. Though she's merely staring at me without saying a word, her expression says everything. So much for trying not to alarm her with bad news.
Sorry, I just spaced out for a moment. Don't mind me.
For a brief moment she seems to accept that. Quietly she shifts, stands up, and takes the empty space right beside me. All done without a single comment. Then, the next thing I know, she's gently pushing a bowl in my hands. Oh, that looks good. The scent reaches me at first before I've gotten the chance to take in what she has just handed me. A faint, sweet smell of cocoa wafts from the dish. Calming, comforting. Despite the multitude of things bothering me, it certainly smells like the kind of food you'll eat on a rainy day. Though, from the get-go, it doesn't look as appetizing. What is this even? Porridge? Why would you put chocolate in it? And milk drizzled on top? She tells me my tastes are weird, yet here she is, handing me something as equally as strange. In fact, she's already starting digging in hers. Okay, to be fair, sometimes for breakfast I make oatmeal and I put cocoa powder in it because it's really good with almond butter and honey. So it's not that weird to have like cocoa powder and porridge. is actually really good. Now I want porridge, damn it! I never thought a game would make me hungry for porridge. I'm just not sure if the taste would be as equally as appealing. Baffled, I glance her way. She offers no immediate answer, simply continues eating as if she hasn't done so in a week, with her focus solely on the television. She's not watching, however, just listening. There's a background noise. The voices from it seem too cheerful, a welcome distraction if anything. It's only after she's finished off half of the bowl does she acknowledge the question in my eyes. With a sigh, she cradles the dish on her lap and looks down at it. Briefly, her lips part, then close. A hesitation, though I don't push her. There's a distant air on her, as if she has remembered something that warrants a poignant thought. When she speaks at last, it's in a tone too careful, like she's still weighing her words, considering the proper phrasing for it. Yet, sincerity underlines each syllable once they're out in the open.
You should eat. Back at home, Mama would never let us leave the house if we hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Even Papa has got an earful when he tried. So eat. You'll need it.
She returns to her food afterwards, while I can only stare at the one she has proffered not a few minutes ago. Warm against my hands, tempting me to take a bite. Not that I don't appreciate this, but what good will this do? Zack and Rebecca's both out there. Who knows when the ghost will show up again? Even in our dreams we're not safe. But that's it, isn't it? We don't know when, and at present, we have a chance at respite. Maybe the only one we'll have. Even if it's as mundane as sharing food between us, quietly, just eating side by side like this, without exchanging any words. The intent hangs unspoken in the air, something that probably goes as far back as the second she offered food. Still, in the end, Isabella's never pushes it. Rather, she'd let her own silence convey her hope. But I'll allow myself that break, she leaves it up to me. Come on! She cooked for you, and it looks really good, so eat it.
Thank you.
Yay! Blushing Ashton. Embarrassed Ashton is best Ashton. The words roll off my tongue, awkward and unfamiliar, far removed from those jests and quips we've shared. Yet she accepts this with a smile and nothing more. Regardless of everything left unsaid, the sight of it brings comfort. More so than any generous offer of food can give. Though we both lapse into silence after we finish our food, there's ease in it. In this. In the muffled sounds of Luxman filtering into the room. In the light streaming from the windows and the faint draft occasionally drifting in, catching the loose tendrils of her hair. In the way her voice falters, when she tries to form words. And despite the horror looming over us, I find myself wishing for the minutes to slow, for the seconds to last. But ultimately, she's the one who breaks it, softly after a minute's pause, in words mumbled under her breath. Sometimes, silence simply compels us to speak.
I've been wondering, before last night, before Mama told me the news, what if Papa passes away, despite everything? That sort of thing. I know it's not good to think about, but I also knew it was getting worse. Mama won't say anything, but I've always known that one day,
She releases a sigh as her grip on the bowl she still holds tightens. There are no tears, but she might as well have them with how weak her voice falls. Are there even any left?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Before, I can easily say it's because of Papa. Now, I don't have anything.
You have that scholarship from LuxU.
Were you going through my personal papers while I was sleeping last night?
I don't really have to. You left it sitting in the open, right there on the table.
Like there's still anything to hide, she snatches it away from where I've placed it back earlier. Except there's no anger or annoyance in her face when she looks at it, and rereads every line with a pensive expression. After a short while, she folds it neatly along the creases and sets it back.
I don't even know if this will work out.
Well, if it doesn't, what about that exhibit you've been planning with Zack?
Do I even have to ask where you got that?
Zack sucks at lying. You have no idea how easy he is to read. It was all in his face when I asked about it. And anyway, if that doesn't pan out too...
I trail off, hesitating, measuring the weight of my next words. Genuine as they are, a part of me believes they're a burden too heavy to impose on her. Because no matter how much I want her to stay, we're not what ties her here. It'll be selfish to ask that of her more than anything. Her family will always come first. I say it, nevertheless, if only to let her know, no matter what her choice will be, there will be people here whose lives her mere presence has changed. Mine, most of all.
You have us.
Oh, feels. The words startle her to pause. Oh, the music changes and everything. Time for some feels. The words startle her to a pause, and slowly she turns to me, her eyes wide, disbelief all over her face. But before regret forces an apology up my throat, her expression dissolves into something I can't quite place. Something distinctly softer, more tender, familiar, almost in the same manner she glanced at me years ago, that day at the bridge. However, I don't get the chance to figure out what it all means for her. All of a sudden, my ringtone breaks the moment, and just as fast, both our attention shifts towards the source. Before things can get awkward fast, I stand up and leave the room while muttering some flimsy excuse to answer the phone.
Sorry, let me just take this call. It's probably Zach or Rebecca.
Damn phone! Really, I know we're in a pinch, but the timing can't get any worse. Unrelated frustrations aside, once I step out of the room and accept the call, the stone that's been stuck in my stomach simultaneously lodges itself up my throat. The person on the other side of the line isn't who I'm expecting.
Right, AI Fright, right? It's Officer Renz over at the precinct. You know, you bring me donuts to keep an eye out for you and shit.
Oh, yeah, right, Renz. What's up? You've, never called me through this line before. Is this something urgent?
Yeah, kinda. Something came up this morning. You know the big guy? Your, buddy?
Oh no.
The bloke Benjamin saw drop by here a few days ago? Big guy. Around 6 feet tall.
Zach?
I don't feel too good about this.
Yeah, him. Zackery Steele, I think.
What about him?
He's been detained and
Wait, what?
What do you mean he's been detained?
they brought them in this morning.
That's not what I asked. What are the charges?
I don't know. Not my division. I'm not really supposed to be on the phone right now, but I thought you want to know. Anyway, I gotta go. If you want to see him, just drop by. Not sure how that'll work, though. The chief has a standing order not to let you into the precinct until Monday.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. I'll bring you some coffee to go with those donuts, too, next time.
The call ends with a click while I'm left here reeling, staring blankly at my phone. It's just my luck that in this exact moment, Isabella chooses to peek out from her apartment.
Was that Zach? Is he gonna drop by?
I have no idea how I look right now, but it must be far from anything pleasant. The curious expression on Isabella's face quickly melts away as soon as she chances a closer look at me.
What's wrong, Ash?
I'm left with no other choice then. I tell her exactly as Officer Renz has said, and the more I spill, the more grim her countenance becomes.
Stay here. I'll go check on him. See what I can do.
No, I'll go with you.
Belle, I'm not going in there for a casual visit. Zach's in trouble and...
I know, but he's not the kind of person who'd do something that'll land him in prison. There must be a mistake.
Believe me, I'm on the same page as you, but...
I want to see him, all right?
And there it is again, that same sharp gleam that has been present in her eyes since yesterday. Little by little, I'm finding it difficult to say no to it. What other choice do I have, too? Still no word on Rebecca, and Zach. Isabella probably doesn't want to be the one who ends up waiting for the news. I know exactly how that feels, so in the end, I know it's the simplest response I can give.
Just let me turn off everything. I'll be out in a few.
Quickly she disappears behind the door. From inside, the sound of her foot shuffling, a few locks clicking shut, and a television being turned off drifts out the hallway. Her whole business inside takes only a few minutes, and within 5, we're both on our way to LPD. At least, we know where Zach is now. That explains why he's not been answering his phone. But what the hell did you do, Zach? He said he had a plan that might help, but if it got him into enough trouble to get himself in a cell, I don't think I like that plan of his. And hell yeah, I'm mad. I'm absolutely furious. It's just as Isabella said. I doubt Zack will get himself arrested because of an actual crime, but whatever stupid stunt he pulled to get there isn't any better. The only good thing today so far is the fact that the streets are nearly empty so early on a Sunday morning. Very few pedestrians and virtually no other car on the road to get in the way of us rushing to the precinct. Within the speed limit, of course. A whirlwind of activity welcomes us as soon as we waltz into LBD HQ. Blah. Fellow officers running here and there, pushing around paperwork and answering calls. It's almost Halloween and troublemakers are abound. Calls about pranks gone wrong make up the most of it this time of the year. Blah! This time of the year! Along with the occasional altercation or missing dog. Some of the other officers who work with me look up from their desks and wave, though none of them moves to stop us like I'm expecting. Standing orders, my ass. Probably didn't last a whole day. Although I'd like to have a chat with them, sooner or later, about official matters, I'm not here for them right now. Of course, it never hurt to see what they have for me, and the best person to ask for details in this precinct is the guy behind the booking window. He glances up at me when I approach, and immediately returns to his task, indifferent. Not that I need his full attention. As long as he talks, I'm good. Next to me, Isabella stands wordlessly, clearly uncomfortable, waiting in anticipation from how close she's sticking to me. But that's probably because she's been in the same position so many times in her life. A drunken brother, the eldest, a repeat offender. Mostly minor cases, but she had to be the one to bail him out every time, from what I've gathered. Can't imagine what's going on inside her head now that it happened to a close friend. Hearing the way these guys talk about him must be worse.
Hey, I heard there's a new guy in the holding cells.
Not many here know Zack, and if they've seen him, they don't pay too much attention. Try to keep my work and personal life as far away from each other as I possibly can. Each one of them is quick to chat, gossip, be the one to talk about the new detainee and have everyone's attention.
News flies fast, huh? They just brought him in this morning.
Any info on him?
Got his ass handed by some rich bloke's bodyguard. Or butler, whatever. When we got to the scene, he's already been strung up and ready for pickup. Hard to imagine how a guy like him could have been taken down. But the butler has this creepy air to him. I'd rather not ask.
Yeah, he is pretty unsettling. Just, he knows and sees way too much.
Feel sorry for the bloke. He could have fought back.
That's because Zack wouldn't hurt a fly.
All said under her breath, but her grip on her bag grows rigid. Unlike me, she's not frustrated at Zack. That eye is directed at the person who put her friend in this predicament. It's true, though. Zack's not the kind of person, and knowing he might be in a bad state, whatever little anger I've built for him on the way here dissolves into thin air.
Has he been booked yet?
No, still sleeping. Creepy butler probably hit him hard.
Which is a good thing. They slip up and forget. We get him a writ of habeas corpus and take him out of here, depending on what he's actually been charged with. But at the same time, it's bad. How long is he going to be unconscious?
Your friend was caught on right property, and you better believe I'm not happy about this. Not one bit.
I want to say there must be some sort of misunderstanding. Zack isn't the type to do such a thing, unless it was his plan all along. In that case, I couldn't just charge blindly into this without all the details, no matter how much I want to believe my friend's innocence. And Wright? Luke Wright? What on earth was Zack thinking? In any case, it doesn't look like Chief is happy, even if I don't protest and give him a salute. Not pleased at all with the fact that he grabs me and pulls me aside is any indication. If we were to describe his expression, he looks ready to kill me.
I swear, Frey, if you're behind this, if you told Steele to stalk the Wrights because you were taken off the case,
I'm not stupid enough to ignore chain of command and go against official orders. Give me some credit, Chief.
And you better be sure you didn't. Luke Wright is coming here, and we both know he's trouble. I'd consider your friend lucky if he only gets charges put against him. Maybe if we can make sure he's in a good mood, he won't escalate the situation. Hell, maybe we'll have a bloody miracle and Steele only gets a slap on the wrist, but Lord knows it's unlikely with that man.
You know him well, Chief.
An observation, not an accusation. But it might as well be with how things panned out from the night of the housewarming party and the morning that followed. His wife's familiar with them too. Who's to say that friendship hasn't coloured the investigation into Luke Wright? Don't want to accuse my superior, But damn it, he makes it difficult.
Of course I'd too, shouldn't you? You've been looking into the guy for so long. I'd call you a bad detective if you can't even tell me whether he's right or left-handed.
That's an easy one. He's left-handed, but he's been taught to use his right. You can tell when he picks something up with his left hand, but when he realizes that, he moves it to the right.
Well, at least I don't have to question your ability. Anyway, if I were you, I'd either go and make myself scarce or sit down and shut up. Don't go aggravating people, basically. Because you have a knack for that at the worst of times.
Yeah, he kind of does. As much as I hate to say it, but he's right. At least you're aware of your own faults. It's better to keep my mouth shut and not make things worse for Zack. There's not much to do now but hope for the best. They don't call for an investigation when it comes to petty felonies. Worst case scenario, he's looking at a fine worth £5,000 and 6 months in jail. Best case scenario, we get the charges bumped down to trespassing, a misdemeanor and juvenile offence. He'll be given probation and will be charged for restitution. At this point, those seem to be the most likely outcome. I don't see how he could have been framed for breaking and entering, unless he was taken into someone's property against his will. Even in my head, that sounds unlikely.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I think I'm a delight to be around.
Tell that to my blood pressure pills. Anyway, let me handle him, alright?
Right on cue, the moment Chief says that, you know who arrives. And like the arrogant show-off that he is, he makes sure his arrival is well noticed by everyone within the immediate vicinity. Behind me, Isabella gasps. She has no idea how much of a trash his previous client is. Now she's going to get a frontline view of it. The guy ignores the front desk even when Benjamin tries to greet him. He just blows past him, walks in all high and mighty as if he owns the place. He probably does. Meanwhile, that creepy butler of his trails behind like a tamed dog on a leash. Doesn't help either that the other officers stop whatever it is they're doing and stare. Whether it's out of suspicion, curiosity, or judging by some of the starstruck looks. Or I should quit it. Get back to work and stop giving the man the attention he's obviously seeking.
I'm here to report a crime.
Of course, why else would you be here? You're either reporting something or being put behind bars, you imbecile. I'm going to...
Calm down, Ashton. No need to rile myself up. I need to calm down. Not for him, not for myself, but for Zack. It's already difficult holding back when his face looks like it could use a good right hook. Yeah, I think there's a line for people wanting to punch Luke in the face. Get behind me. Better just let the chief handle him. Sure enough, he's the first to walk up to him, bearing a smile way too friendly for comfort. Looking at them like this makes me sick to my stomach. It's easy to know there's something up underneath the guise of keeping up appearances.
I'll be happy to assist you with that, Mr. Wright. You'll have to issue your statements as victim and witness. We'll have to determine probable cause and properly file a criminal complaint. Of course, you understand.
Oh, I understand, though I don't see why you can't file that thing yourself. The cause is obvious, isn't it? He was breaking into my home in order to pilfer my belongings.
Well, we'll still need that police report. The prosecutor will be the one to determine what charges you can legally file against the accused.
Reports and prosecutors. Why should we law-abiding citizens suffer through all that?
Because it's the fucking justice system, you asshole.
Thugs like him should be kept off the streets. I mean, it's so obvious who these people are. You can practically spot them.
Oh, fuck you! Wait, hold up. Is this guy for real? Can he hear himself? He's not saying what I think he's saying, I hope.
We come here to our country, take advantage of our wealth and generosity, while we proper Brits work hard and pay our taxes.
Fuck you, Luke Wright!
All the while they break our laws and ruin our civilized community.
Fuck you with a rusty chainsaw.
Trash like these should be kept contained. These uneducated...
Now, Mr. Wright. I know you're upset about what happened, but perhaps we should move to my office.
Of course. The sooner we can deal with the petty criminal, the better.
Can't believe the audacity of this guy. Did he really think himself better just because he was born rich?
I swear they should just ship these peasants back to where they came from.
Fuck you.
They're all criminals. It can't be helped. It's in their genes.
Okay, why is not half of the fucking officers lining up to punch him in the mouth? Come on. Despite myself, in spite of every restraint I've placed on me, upon hearing those words, I can't help but open my mouth. Chief's warnings be damned. This is my friend he's fucking shitting on. Okay, maybe not full on rushing him, but call him out on his bullshit.
They're all criminals. It's in their genes. Come here and say that to my face, you bastard!
Thank you, Ash!
Ash, don't.
I realize my mistake only after her whispered plea reaches my ears. Isabella's fingers dig deep through the fabric of my jacket as she tries to hold me back. True, I shouldn't have put myself out in the spotlight like that. But this guy. This fucking guy.
Oh, and who is this loud young man?
He glances at me like I'm a flea, a pest. But it's more disgusting how fast his expression changes to once he spots Isabella behind me. Recognition flashes in his eyes the moment his attention turns to her.
I do recognize little Lily over there, though. Hello, long time no see. Is Pipsqueak your friend?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. He didn't...
Don't apologize to him! He doesn't deserve it. I can't believe you're all just listening to his shit!
You have to calm down, Ash.
Should have kept my mouth shut.
Frey, stand down! I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. Luke, you have to excuse him. He's under a lot of stress. Just got removed from a case and the man is an acquaintance, you see.
But I'm not taking any of my words back, because he is an utter bastard. By the way he stares at Isabella to what he has done to Zack, it all reeks of the rot that is Luke fucking Wright. Even after so many years, nothing has changed. He's still the same slimeball who does everything to get what he wants.
The thief is a friend of a cop? Now that is the start of a joke if I've ever heard one. A thief and a cop walk into a bar.
He's not a thief!
And yet we found him trespassing on my property. There are eyewitnesses, and his grubby prints are probably all over my pristine walls as he was breaking in. Face the facts, little policeman. You've made the wrong sorts of friends.
He's not a criminal!
And that is the truth. But with the way everyone is looking at me right now. This must have been how Isabella felt when we wouldn't believe her about the letter. Just the thought of that leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. And here she is, caught in the middle of this fight I've started.
Isabella, tell him! You know Zack. He's not the kind of person who'd do this shit!
Ash, we both know that. But yelling at him won't help Zack at all. Please.
Calm yourself, Frey. Unless you want me to throw you in a cell myself.
I understand you're upset that your friend is locked up, but the law is the law. And don't you worry, I won't be pressing charges against you. I don't know what charge, but I'm sure I can think of something if I need to. Do put a leash on your boyfriend, Lily. He might hurt himself. Being that angry can't be that good for his health.
I'm livid. Fist clenched and jaw tight, I'm nearly ready to just sock this guy and make good on that promise of a right hook. My frustration about it all must have shown, because not only now do I realize that aside from Isabella, the other officers have also jumped in to hold me back all this time. They don't even let go of me, not until I've put a good distance away between me and the scumbag. And it's awkward going on from there. The precinct is quiet, though the usual hustle and bustle of activity stayed. Everyone is making concerted effort to shut their mouths about the whole scene. I wish they had made the same effort to keep themselves from staring at me, though. They all want to talk about what just happened. But at the same time, they don't want to acknowledge that it did happen and refuse to even make eye contact with me. All of it changes in the next second, though. It doesn't even register to me that it has already occurred. Before I have the chance to leave, ready to march out of the precinct, still angry and frustrated, all of a sudden Isabella has been standing close to me not a second ago. Grabs a half-full glass of water off one of the officers' table and dumps the entirety of its contents on scumbag. Fuck yes, Isabella! And the expression on her is nothing short of seething.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Afterwards, she slams the drinking glass down the table with a loud thud. With the whole precinct this still, the sound of it creates echoes thickly along the walls, almost deafening. Fuck yes, Isabella! In the face of her temper, nobody dares move. But she doesn't give me the time to relish the disbelief on Wright's face. She marches towards me soon after. Before I can even say anything, she grabs me by the wrist and drags me out of the precinct. Honestly, I've never seen something so satisfying in my life. Might as well be grinning from ear to ear, I weren't already so pissed at a lot of things right now. Still would have loved to sock the bastard myself. A few minutes later finds the two of us sitting in a mutual silence inside my car. With the two of us in a mood, thanks to one specific scumbag, it's better to keep our own opinions to ourselves, lest we lash out at each other. Let it melt away on its own. How long until then, can't tell. Zach's still in lockup and I wasn't able to do a damn thing past getting angry and almost socking the living daylights out of scumbag. Really, I just want to hit something, damn it. I almost envy Isabella for having the guts to throw water at him. But as amazing as it is to watch, she still shouldn't have done that. This is Right we're talking about. No matter how much he hits on any woman he sees on the street, the moment you piss him off, you better watch your back. It might just been the water. She'll be living in the same city as him. Who knows when they'll meet again. He's just bunked up over at Anslem. I shudder to think how he can easily make her life hell with just the flick of his finger. It doesn't help that the thought of that alone adds a whole new level of irritation, atop the disappointment, anger, and outrage. And in my frustration, I slam a hard fist down on the steering wheel. Oddly, it's what finally piques a reaction from her.
You know what? You would have ended up in an even bigger problem if you did hit him.
You threw water at him.
It won't leave a mark, though. He'll live. The only thing I ruined is his expensive suit.
Still the same thing.
And you acting like this isn't helping Zach at all.
Really, blame's the last thing I want to hear right now, especially with the stunt she pulled. She means well, but anger clouds a lot of things. Sometimes I just can't help but sprinkle my own answers with the same heat. That seems a little bit too much like, what do you even know, like kind of point being mean to her. I think that one's the best option.
I know, damn it!
Somehow, admitting that out loud feels like a release in itself. As if a dam has been opened, every pent-up frustration spills out my mouth before stopping myself occurs to me.
Seriously, it's one bad thing after another. First I get kicked off my own case, now Zach's in jail, and still no word from Rebecca. To top it all off, there's a ghost, a damn ghost of all bloody things, going after us. Everything's such a clusterfuck.
Without any warning, she gives my forehead a hard flick. A sense of deja vu hits me. The pain is fleeting, but enough to stop my tirade. She appears completely unamused when I glance at her. There's no trace of anger in her eyes, though. Even lacks the sharpness Rebecca has when scolding someone. Hers is softer, but doesn't fail to nail the disappointed mother look. All at once, regrets replaces the annoyance.
You don't have to act so pissy all the time, you know?
Well, she's right about that, at least.
Not everything's gonna go your way. That's something you'll have to live with. That's just how it is.
Easy to say, but the moment everything goes south...
Well, that's why we're here, right? It doesn't always have to be just you. You'll miss a lot of things in life, the good things, if you keep thinking like that. If my mama were here, you'd get a scolding.
She throws a quick smile my way, then turns her attention back to the window. Her gesture leaves no room for an argument. For some introspection, plenty. The whole thing did serve to help clear my head, and just like that, somehow, everything doesn't look too bleak anymore. Isabella's always had that effect on people. Gratitude and apology almost form in my lips. Though before the words even fall, my phone rings, effectively cutting through the conversation. A quick glance at the caller ID shows Rebecca's name blinking on the screen. Beside me, Isabella stares, waiting. The ringtone is very distracting.
I'll tell her to meet us at Salemwell as soon as she can. Excuse me.
Without another word, I slip out of the car and answer the call. However, the tone she assumes isn't what I'm hoping to hear.
Ashton, are you there?
Ragged, a bit out of breath, there's a tinge of urgency in it. Listening to her from my side of the line makes it seem like she's just run a marathon prior to this call.
Becca, where?
I got your message. What happened?
Nothing. Well, Zach's in a bit of a tight spot right now.
Define tight spot in this context, Ash.
I'll tell you about it later. There's nothing we can do about it now. Where are you, by the way?
Home. I had to make a quick visit to the library.
Listen, Ash, about that thing Isabella has been talking about. There's something you guys need to...
Please tell me you didn't... Whatever. Save it for later. We'll meet you there. This is related to that.
We? Is Isabella with you?
Yeah, she insisted to come with me.
With a quick press of the button, I switched on the loudspeaker and stepped closer to the window on Isabella's side. I held out the phone towards her, giving it 2 shakes, urging her to speak. She's still carrying a curious look on her face. It's already bordering on worried, actually. This should ease that.
Rebecca's asking for you.
Becca? Is she okay? Hey, Becca!
Hey, Belle, what's happening over there? Is this something I should be worried about?
Becca, it's Zach! He's...
We'll tell you once we get there. It's not something we should discuss over the phone.
I don't like the sound of that, Ash. But alright. Please, hurry.
Gotcha. Give us a few minutes.
She mumbles an apology, then hangs up. Becca's the last person I need to account for, yet that call left something stained in the air. Thankfully, we don't have to linger in it for too long. The drive back to Salemwell only takes a matter of minutes. We find her pacing in front of Isabella's room, hands clasped tightly in front of her as she treads the small space offered by the hallway. The second she looks up, Isabella clings to her.
I'm so glad you're okay. Ashton checked on you this morning, but...
He did? I'm sorry. I was in a hurry. I didn't have time to drop by and let you know.
It doesn't matter. What's important is you're here.
Not burnt to a crisp or brutally murdered somewhere. Whole, alive. Though she seems a bit shaken, doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. At least now I can relax, ease the pressure off my shoulders, if only by some. Still that problem with Zach. But the minute Isabella pulls away from her, she winces. Small reaction. The young woman doesn't even catch it. It sets a precedence for careful observation nevertheless. Precedence, bleh. A closer look at her reveals her much more disheveled than usual, hair in a bit of a mess, probably flattened in a hurry. The back of her dress also shows stains of dirt in places it rarely gets into. She's also leaning more, using her left arm. She's right-handed. Perhaps the most telling is the slight limp she has, noticeable once Isabella leads us up into her apartment. It all sprouts a hatful of questions. What exactly happened and how she ended up in that state? Pretty sure a simple trip to the library won't do that. But she never gives me a chance to bring it up. The second we're seated in the tiny living room, she gets straight to the point and asks about Zach. Typical Rebecca.
All right, no more suspense. What happened to Zackery? And I don't want the two of you to mince words. Tell everything as it is.
They arrested him, Becca.
Arrested? As in the police?
Yeah. Ashton just heard about it this morning.
Her eyes quickly zero in on mine, and at the raise of an eyebrow in question, I quickly fill her in what happened. From the moment I've gotten the news down to the very person at the root of this trouble. The very person she's been friendly with from the start. She falters the second I drop Scumbag's name, disbelief all over her features.
Are you sure it's him? This must be a mistake.
Yup, quite sure it's the bastard we saw at the precinct, in all his pompous glory.
What was Zackery even doing in the mansion? Breaking and entering? Are you kidding me? I know Zackery can look a bit intimidating at first glance, but he's not the kind of person who will do those things.
That's exactly what we told the police, but they won't listen. Apparently they caught him in the act.
Of course they won't. They're up against Wright's smug face, for fuck's sake. He's the one who has the money.
There must be something we can do to help him.
I'm still up for kicking his ass if anyone's asking.
Not that. Anything but that.
Oh, come on, you threw water at him. At least let me score.
We need something that'll help Zach. If you really want to hurt something, go punch the wall or your face.
I'll talk to him.
Immediately, all the banter in the room stops when we both turn to her.
Talk to who?
Luke. I'm sure he'll see reason.
Okay! This is unexpected, but I'm delighted to see where this goes. She wastes no time. Ignoring her limp, she gathers her things and stands up, ready to leave. I grab her arm before she can walk past, carefully to avoid hurting her in case there really is an injury. Seems like at first glance, but you can't be sure until after a careful examination has been made. I expect some bruising at least, although minor internal fractures aren't out of the equation. They have a nasty way of staying hidden. But they're possible injuries the least of my problems right now, not when she's likely planning to march into Ermengarde Mansion just to talk to the guy. And I have a slew of opinions about that plan. Oh, this one's tricky. That one sounds like it's coming across definitely with much more anger. That one seems more like a concerned friend. I'm more inclined for that one, I think. I'm torn on this one because their breath's so similar. Do you really think he'll listen, or don't be rash? The exclamation point and question mark is what makes me think it's probably going to come across a bit hard. I think that one.
Becca, this thing with Zack has already gone down the legal territory. Smugface already filed the case this morning.
Isn't that another reason to talk to him?
It'll be difficult, especially when he's so eager to get to the precinct this morning. Unless we find evidence that'll prove Zack's innocence, there's nothing we can do at the moment. Chief will kick me out of my own precinct if I keep insisting.
Becca does give a moment of thought. She still appears like she wants to run headfirst into Anselm, though. But after a minute of silence, thankfully she concedes.
All right, but promise me you'll get Zackery out of that place.
I will. There's no way in hell I'm leaving him in there. Besides, even if you could reason with Smugface...
Stop calling him like that! And you wonder why he won't listen.
Even if you could reason with Smugface, you're not going anywhere with that limp.
As expected, she tries to hide it. When she squirms from my grasp, it's with enough force she almost stumbles back if the catch had not caught her fall. Even with Isabella shooting her concerned looks, she's swift to shrug it off.
It's fine. I just had a little accident.
Little accident. Hard to believe when her other arm's nursing the supposedly fine arm. Isabella doesn't buy any of it either.
In a library? Well, yeah. It kinda caught me off guard.
Something's happened there, hasn't it?
It was a ghost! I don't have to elaborate on the question further. Shortly she goes very still, and the hand placed over her right arm shifts ever so slightly, its grip on the limb tightening. Not too firm to hurt, but just enough for a gesture of comfort for herself. Warily she casts a glance at everyone in the room, but only the one she spares for Isabella lingers longer, and in that moment, something unspoken passes between them. An understanding. Strikes me seconds later how utterly familiar her expression is. It's the same one I've seen far too many times in Isabella. Since that day at the movie house, every time her attempts to warn us have been so rudely dismissed.
Let me see.
Can we? We have to check if it's bad.
Rebecca hesitates for a moment. Then, after a minute of consideration, she sighs and reaches for the hem of her sleeve, raises it just enough for Isabella to take a good look at it. Not swollen, but a large portion of her skin starting to turn an ugly shade of purple.
Oh, ouch. That bruise isn't going to look pretty.
Tell me about it. It was a library cart that hit me. You know, the old metal ones they keep near the history section.
But she's there? She went after you.
Yeah, I was in the archives, looking something up. Suddenly, she was just there. Belle, she was using my own students against me. What kind of terrible person does that? Oh, it makes my blood boil.
You should have just ran. That woman's not something you can hit with a book.
Laugh it up, Ashton. I did. Then the bloody cart came out of nowhere. And you know what? If it weren't for a damn book, I would be dead by now.
Silence descends in the room as the gravity of that one word hits all of us. Dad. Another close call, another would've, another one we've narrowly avoided. How long can we keep this up? We're bound to break at one point. No normal human being with a sane mind can last like this. It's a miracle Isabella hasn't cracked yet. After all, she was the one who found that letter. I've expected her to have caved in by now, yet her voice, calm and composed in the face of this, is what cuts through the thick air.
I'll go get a cold compress for that arm. You guys take a seat first. Ashton and I, we have a lot of things to talk about.
That marks the end of it. At least for the time being. And as soon as Isabella returns and hands Rebecca the cold compress she promised, we get straight down to business. Surprisingly easy considering the rigid air in the room. Although there's some tense fumbling for words at first, the whole conversation gains steam once we found last night at BRC has been put on the table. All at once, everything we've brushed off, carelessly ignored, and rudely dismissed have been laid out for close scrutiny. Our own encounters with the woman, Rebecca's close brushes with death every time she appears. The dread, the fear, the terror she brings out even in the bravest of us. Everything. Because no matter how bleak this all seems, there must still be a way out of this. There has to be, logic be damned. Or at least that's what Isabella and I would like to believe. Yet, even as the cold morning light shifts to the warm hues of late afternoon, and eventually night, none of this makes a fucking damn sense. Darkness has fallen, but we're still nowhere near figuring things out. If anything, we're more at a loss than we've been at before we even started this. The next thing I know, frustration rears its ugly head, and the sheets of paper I've been holding smacks the table harder than I've intended. The sound of it echoes loudly in the small room, and everyone simply falls silent. Along with it is a release of another long-held breath. Perhaps the 100th since this morning.
We aren't getting anywhere at this rate.
Don't just drop it. There must be something in this we aren't seeing yet.
Ash, please. Zach wouldn't want us to give up on this.
It's an odd thing to hear from her. The very words I've been telling myself every single time I find myself facing a dead end. We can use a little of the optimism right now, I guess. Too bad Z-Man's better at this than me.
I know, but what are we supposed to be looking at here in the first place?
Well, we already looked through those files. You're the one that picked it out last night, right?
All of them? I'm pretty sure every person we've checked in there isn't necessarily involved. One client possibly died of old age. Remember, you found that dumb paper right before the open house. No one was allowed inside that place for a time that day. It's too broad of a scope if we include every single person. In fact, the only notable ones are C and Jean Marie.
But if we're going to include them in the count, shouldn't there have been more than enough people to end this fucking curse already? How does this thing even work?
Yeah, okay. They went in and out of this place. But no, you still don't get it. What I'm trying to say about those clients is... maybe there's something more to this.
What do you mean?
Becca makes a vague gesture at the papers she's brought, and crosses her arms and leans back on the seat to glare at it. The way she's staring at it, you'd think she wants to set the entire stack on fire.
Apparently, there was some stuff that people haven't been telling us.
You mean our own teachers have been lying to us all this time?
Hey, now don't blame us. Blame the bloody books they wrote.
Quietly, Isabella reaches out for one of the papers Rebecca has brought with her, and carefully inspects the words printed on the page. A copy of an old newsprint from even before the city had been founded. Her eyes narrows with each line as it passes, but lingers at the illustration of the noble woman's servant.
Why do they have to keep this in the restricted section?
Thank you so much for the host, Fallout Kids. Appreciate it. Great to see you again. Rebecca merely shrugs at her inquiry, but her own annoyance seeps through her answer.
How should I know? I wasn't even aware we have archives that go as far back as this. This is before the city was even founded. As a matter of fact, if it weren't for Andrew's help, I wouldn't have gotten my hands on any of it. Maybe they didn't think it would be important to talk about it. After all, this is more Anselm's than ours.
That or some old bugger's hiding something.
Why else would these tell a completely different story? Revising what's written seems a useless endeavour on its own when you have nothing to gain from it. Thanks to those, we're also missing a lot of things here. There's still a gap. A huge one. Even with the information we currently have right now, it still feels like there's something we're overlooking. All we have to go with is the mansion, the letter, and all the stuff selfish people have been keeping from the public. But what else? At present, everything seems to point to where this all started. The Ermengarde mansion. We'll bring the letter back there, fix everything? Fuck. How do I? The mansion's private property now. Can't just waltz in there. I'd rather die before I even think of begging Wright to let me in and investigate the place. After what he did to Zack? Not gonna happen. Over my dead body. One thing's very clear after these last 2 days, however. We're not safe anywhere, and I have to act fast if I want to keep my friends alive. We can't keep running away. Sooner or later she'll get us. And damn it, I hope Zack's safe where they're keeping him. There are guards stationed at the holding cells 24/7, but you can't be sure. This is a ghost we're up against. Before anything happens, I have to put an end to this. Sighing, I stand up and stretch out the kinks in my back after several hours of sitting. We've been at this for far too long. A break is needed. Time to let everything sink in, or else we'll all burn out. I know I will, and it's another thing I cannot let happen. They're all counting on me like this. Albeit unspoken, it's in their eyes as they look up at me, waiting. Oh, excuse me. Oh. We've been at this since morning. We should take a break for a few. The rest of it never makes it out of my mouth. Something heavy and grating sounds from the far end of the room. A harsh booming noise rendering through the eardrums of everyone in the room. All at once, the two of them are on their feet. I quickly palm for my gun on the table. However, before I can pull it up and remove the safety, the whole racket stops. Stillness descends in the room, and amidst the sudden hush, the three of us exchange anxious glances. So much for a break.
Ashton, that might be...
Gather everything.
No questions asked. They waste no time getting to work, piling up the documents we've been reading through. Even Isabella is unusually silent as she gathers everything in her arms, her own movements sharp and precise, a deep furrow in her brow. There's fear, but something hardened and urgent overshadows it. But the moment doesn't last. Before we can even finish, another noise ups the tension already gripping the place. Suddenly, the lights go out and the wardrobe at the end of the room rattles, as if something inside begs for freedom. Cautiously, eyes glued to it, I take a step forward and release the lock from my gun. I'm no trigger-happy person, but I'm not even sure if this will work on a ghost. But right now, it's smooth surface against my palm, and with the trigger on my finger, Fright's the closest thing I have to relief as I approach the closet.
Ashton, what are you doing? We have everything. We should just...
Worried as they both are, they immediately stop with a slight raise of my hand. But the edge is there while they still all huddle in the space between the door and the room. In case this goes south, whatever I find inside, they have enough time and space to run from their position. In 2 deep breaths, I've crossed the room and stood in front of the closet. Whatever's inside has yet to stop thrashing. Instead has now moved to banging at the door, louder and louder the longer I dally. Another shallow breath. A glance at my companions. A nod. Something creaks. Then, in the next moment, I'm grasping at the handles and swing the doors wide open to reveal... nothing. Right away, I part the clothes hanging on it, and still none. No ghost. No woman. Not a single trace of whoever's inside. Confused, I glance back towards Rebecca and Isabella, only to see them mirroring the same expression on my face. The noise has finally stopped, but I'm quite sure it is in my imagination. Maybe it is. I'm just too strung up that my head's now making things up. Whatever the case is, we need to get out of here as soon as possible. This only confirms we aren't safe anywhere. Without bothering to close it, I move back, ready to leave, adrenaline now coursing through every vein in my body. The next second, I'm barking orders and...
We should go. You two, we need to... Ah!
I'm sent sprawling on my back as something cold catches my ankle and yanks. The resulting fall knocks the wind out of me. Pain racks my whole spine in the back of my head as it collides against the floor, with force enough to dislodge my own brain from my skull. A moment lasts before stars fade from my vision, and then I sense it. Cold tendrils twisting around my ankles, the smell of vile rot assaulting my nose. Nauseating, sickening, a foul smell draining every feeling in my body. The moment her horrid laughter, still as unpleasant and vicious as the last time I heard it, reaches my ears, my eyes snap open. Perhaps it's just inexperience, or maybe my mind's still attempting to comprehend this. Regardless, the minute my eyes land on her, the whole of my body freezes, The gun in my hand turns useless as my grip on it slackens. Yes, it's Denver's waifu! Run! It's in the manner her graze bores on me, I'll say. The look of utter hatred and malice. I've seen it loads of times. From suspects, mostly murderers who never regret their actions despite being caught. It's the face of someone you can no longer reason with. And I know, the moment she laughs again and starts dragging me towards her, it's already going to be the...
Ashton! Snap out of it!
No. I can't die here. Not yet. The haze fades from my mind and instinct kicks in then and there.
Everyone out! Get out! Get out of here!
With one powerful tug, I yank my foot out of her grip and scramble back to my feet, ignoring the piercing wails she fills the room with. Within the span of a second, I'm gunning for the door, grabbing the wrist of the first person my hand can reach and leading the two of them out. Into the hallway, down the flight of steps, and right inside my car. I waste no time flooring on the gas pedal the second the last person closes the door behind them, and in a short while, I'm driving us out of Salem Well. I don't even entertain the thought of winding down just yet. Even as last of that woman's painful cries fades into the night. Oh boy! A dreary downpour starts off the Monday. Although it doesn't last for more than an hour, dark clouds lift just as the sun peaks over the horizon. Brief as it is, rain has significantly dampened the park's usual cheery vibe. Mornings like this often mark the start of another bad week. An arrest gone wrong, another investigation leading to a dead end, or some truly fucked up shit being called in. Like that one time I was dispatched to a scene where a guy gorged his own eyeball out and almost ate it. So on the few chews away from swallowing it, in fact. Lost my dinner that day.
Fun times.
Of course, I doubt anything can top getting cursed by a damn chain letter of all things. It's some sort of stupid thing that people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. A ghost chasing after you just puts the icing on that cake. So far, all we've done is run, snoop about, read stuff and run again. It frustrates me to no end how we're still no closer to an answer. Even my car reflects the state my mind is in. Photocopies of documents litter every available surface. Scattered all over the place, piling from the passenger side and into the back seat, making an entire mess of what little space there is. Not that I'm any better. My last shower was 24 hours ago. I haven't slept at all. My last meal was that chocolate porridge thing Isabella offered. The way I am now, I'll definitely get a scolding. Rebecca will definitely give me an earful and tell me to take care of myself better. Say that I'm killing myself on the job. I can already hear Isabella complaining how dark the bags under my eyes are getting, and about how I reek and how I need a shower pronto.
I can rest easy when this is all over.
It's not that I can't feel the pang of hunger. With that woman chasing after you, it's difficult not to feel anything other than horror. The rush of adrenaline coursing through my veins in my desperation to survive. In fact, I can still sense the ghost of her touch from last night. Hey! Fun. Her bony digits wound tighter around my ankle and that horrid smile she has on her as she pulls me closer. The memory is enough to send me a shiver up my spine and make me antsy. Perhaps the only thing comforting about this is the sight of my gun nearby. From the dashboard, sunlight glints off Ophelia's surface. Oh, he named his gun Ophelia. Of course he did. Normally I keep it hidden in a compartment. Luxman police regulations only allow authorized people to carry firearms, and even those are limited. I do have that authorization, but I never really saw the need for its use, when standard issue tasers are more than good enough to incapacitate anyone. If not, I can always throw them on their back. Those judo lessons Dad forced me to get as a kid has its uses too. On a ghost, though, all those will probably yield the same result. They're all useless. Might as well use a stick. However, it's the feeling of ease I'm after, or what little of it I can gather from it. The awareness that I, at least, have something to protect myself with, in case things go wrong. That I can still protect the people who are still depending on me despite the missteps I've taken. It doesn't take the edge off, though. The feeling that your whole body has been strained far beyond its capacity. Frankly, I'm already running out of steam. The only thing pushing me right now is knowing someone's still depending on me. A stretch is still in order though. I've been sitting here since last night. Soon I step out from my car, closing it behind me with a thud as I take in my surroundings. The rain did wonders. The morning air feels crisper and cooler than it has been in days. For once, the weather seems to be taking a turn for the normal. Luxman's normal. In the distance beyond the buildings lies the horizon. Dark clouds are blowing in.
A storm might be due this evening, give or take.
Shame for the people looking forward to Halloween night. Just not sure whether this is something I can look forward to as well. Still, I bask in the change it brings. Inhale, exhale, breathing in, taking in the peace, as if it'll be my last. But as with all the good things, the quiet shortly comes to an end. Not necessarily a bad end. The chatter reaches my ears first, halting my movements. Sure enough, when I glance up, I find them, Rebecca and Isabella, just as they've entered the park grounds, bags of convenience stores store food in hand. After last night's flight into Salemwell, we've elected to stay the night here, unsure if our own homes will still be safe. Normally, we will be averse to the idea of spending the night outside like this, but panic and distress has tainted that decision. It's not like any of us have gotten any ounce of sleep anyway. On the off chance one of us did, and it lasted but a second, or it's a fitful one. But looking at them right now from afar, it's easy to mistake them for just a group of friends on a day out. Isabella's gesturing wildly with her arms as she talks, something funny or amusing probably, because it's soon followed by Rebecca's giggles. Their voices fill the atmosphere with light air, temporarily easing off the disheartening mood. It's easy to pretend we're not knee-deep in a life-and-death situation the way we're acting now. Easy to forget one of us is being framed for a crime he likely didn't commit. If anything, it's only their appearance that betrays that mask, slightly dishevelled, bags under their eyes, an exhausted curve in their shoulders, and dragging footsteps. But the closer they get, the more obvious these signs are to the naked eye. Rebecca passes an energy drink my way the moment the distance allows it. Isabella hands me the other bag she's holding, before seating herself on the edge of the fountain. The scent of warm food immediately wafts from the bag when I open it, carried further by a passing breeze. Whatever sweet sauce they dribbled over this pork wannabe, it smells heavenly. Hell, even the sorry-looking vegetables seem appetizing. Despite myself, without even checking what this is, hunger swiftly takes over every rational thought. I dig in without waiting for them to start. Both of them appear of the same mind too. Soon enough they also start with theirs. Like, even that looks kind of good. Like, yeah, it's convenience store food, but you can get good food at convenience stores. No casual talk while we fill our empty stomachs. Exhausted as we all are, food is something we can't forego. Starvation dulls the thinking, weakens the body. If we are to survive this, we're going to have to take care of ourselves first. It's one thing Zack will likely remind me if he's here. In a matter of minutes, we're done and dumping the empty cartons in the nearby waste bin. Along with it's a shift in the mood. Back to dismal. Back to the problem at hand. The comfortable atmosphere from 10 minutes ago was nice while it lasted. Admittedly, I've missed these kind of moments between us. We've never had the chance. Always busy on some project or work. The things we've taken for granted, now we're realizing how valuable they are. With one of us gone, stuck in a jail cell, the world has an awful sense of humour. While the one we've just had is short-lived, it's another thing I want to look forward to, if we ever free ourselves from this damned curse. I'd like to believe there's a way. But now, we have to focus back on the present. This. Dead people. The letter. The curse. It's not simple to bring these up, but necessary.
What now? Where do we go from here?
It's not a question directed at anyone in particular. They all just look at me as if my face has all the answers in the world. I used to think so, back when I was at the top of my game and I was still so sure of everything. Now there's just uncertainty sullying whatever decision I come up with. At some point, logic has simply stopped working here, started grasping at straws. Along with exhaustion, fatigue and stress, we have enough kindling to set a fire burning. Not so pleasant kind of fire.
Well, first, we can't just stay here. That much is obvious.
But we can't just keep running like this either, Becca. Sooner or later, she'll...
As if we have a choice. We can't even go back to our own homes because that thing might get us. No, we're safe. But dying is the last thing I want to do right now, Isabella. Not to a stupid chain letter you were too gullible to pick up, bring with you, and show to everyone.
I didn't do it on purpose. Becca, had I known, I wouldn't have.
You two. Now's not really the time to be shouting at each other. I'm already getting a headache, so if you guys could calm down, that'd be really great.
Well, isn't that rich coming from you? Whose side are you on, Ash?
Why does anyone have to pick a side? You're a rational person, Becca. You know we can't just say it's her fault. She did warn us not to open it, and
That doesn't exempt her from any blame. She's still largely responsible for it.
And you're not?
I didn't say that! Do you really think I don't blame myself for this as well?
I agree, Shadow. If there's one thing The Walking Dead taught us, there is no safe place, even behind walls as big as mountains.
I tried to warn all of you. None of you listened. Now you're blaming me for something I kept telling you guys since day one? You're just as responsible for this as I am.
So now you're throwing it back at us? We wouldn't even be having this problem if you're—
Cut this out, okay? This isn't the time to have some dumb argument.
If you don't want to get caught in it, then stay out of this, Ash.
Oh no, Ash. Don't stop her. Let her say it. I'm sure she has plenty more to say. If I didn't know any better, she's already.
Already what? You want me to say it? Out loud? That I find you in this whole thing?
All right, that's enough! Both of you, stop this!
They both falter into silence at my words, and an awkward, stifling mood descends between the three of us. I did not mean to shout, to snap at them, to add to that kindling. Not in a moment when any time, anywhere, she might get to one of us. We're all in the same boat, yet here we are, playing the blame game. Little by little we're falling apart, caving into the pressure, to the bleak situation we've trapped in. Did the ghost mean for this to happen? To divide each of us so she can pick us off one by one right after? Who knows? Anything's possible now if her kind can exist. With the fire burning between us rising as high as it does now, I'm afraid, deathly afraid, that the possibility might come sooner than I can figure all this out. Fuck, I still can't think straight. Can't even believe the next words coming out of my own mouth. That out of everyone, I have to be the one saying these to them. This is more their forte than mine, keeping the peace, placating everyone, while I unintentionally aggravate people with badly chosen words. Funny how fast the tables have turned after just one unfortunate incident. How am I even supposed to cope?
If we all want to get out of this mess in one piece, we're gonna have to cool our heads first.
Before my own temper flares, I walk away and slide back into my car. If the door slams with more force than needed, I like to blame it on the pent-up anger boiling up in me. I'm not even sure who or what I'm angry at. The ghost, at them, or maybe at myself for being this useless. Because despite none of them saying it, I know, goddammit. They're still counting on me. In spite of my failures, or every harsh word I've uttered, or how unbearable I can be as a friend, it's there when the tension after the argument finally breaks, and one by one they follow me and get in the car. It's in concerned glances they shoot my way when I start the engine without a word and drive off. It's in their silence, a heavy gift, their unwavering trust. Yet, it's one I'm more than willing to carry, even though through my own exhaustion, if only to keep them safe. In the city of 68,000 strangers, they're the only ones I have left. Though in all seriousness, a good rest is still our best bet for now. Thinking with an exhausted brain is almost as good as running around in circles. We might as well just throw ourselves at the ghost and be done with this. The local Irish pub may not be the best place to hang around when one hasn't slept a wink or you're stressed. More often than not, it's loud. Sometimes the music played by drunkards grates the ears and the whole place smells like piss on a bad day. All in all, it's a very definition of the last place I'll hang around after a wakeful night, but it's safe. You just pull up a chair, have a pint, and just wait for all of this to blow over, and it'll be fine. Be fine. Or as safe as it can be with G security watching the place, making it easy to find help in case you find yourself in a tight spot. The place being owned by a person I've implicitly placed my trust on provides some semblance of comfort too. Gregor, bartender G, or just G to his regular patrons, might be rough around the edges. Sometimes a bit too gruff for a man serving drinks behind the counter, but he belongs to the good folk of the city. Yes, Shaun of the Dead, one of my absolute favourite movies. Yeah, boy! Because that's what you do when the world's coming apart. You just go to the pub, you get a pint, and just wait for all of us to blow over. If there's anyone in this place I can rely on to look after people important to me, it's probably him. He means well, surprisingly, despite his surly demeanour. Cares to some extent, for people he likely only sees once or twice a week or on a bad day. Not the best job in the world, in my opinion, but that's exactly it, isn't it? In wine there is truth. Alcohol, in this case. It loosens the tongue, forces one to let his or her guard down. Whatever inhibitions anyone has, it all flies straight out the window after a few glasses. It has made him observant too. Always has one or two things to say about someone or something. Most of the time it's me. Opinionated ass. But God knows how many times I've asked for his help, when I'm met with a dead end in case I'm in trouble. This time's no different. As expected, the moment we show up, he's kind enough to offer us a room at the back of his shop. A single look at my face, I don't even need to say anything. The next thing we know, he's leading us in. Okay, to be fair, if this is an Irish pub and this story is taking place in England, it is way too clean. It looks way too clean for a pub. Like, this game's great, it has great visuals. Only thing that's pissing me off is that the pub, the Irish pub, air quotes, is way too fucking clean. Like, where's the sad, lonely fucks in the background that have been there every day for the past 30 years? Where's, like, the really grimy pool table that, like, the balls kind of stick to the mat after a while? Just, ugh. It needs to be grosser. No questions asked. Except for mine. Maybe it's also for this reason why I find myself drifting towards his station hours later, after having gotten that much needed shut-eye. Newly washed drinking glasses and tumblers line the counter surface when I enter the room. Behind the bar, G's busy wiping each of them clean, likely prepping it for tonight's use. Briefly, he glances up at me once I claim one of the empty stools and grabs a rocks glass sitting closest to my elbow. Turning it absent-mindedly in my palm, just to keep my hands occupied, while my brain's busy trying to make sense of everything. Even at a dead hour, with only a few patrons milling about, this place still smells strongly of liquor. Honestly, I've never grown fond of it. Regardless of how many times I've made the trip or sat here on the same spot, just talking with the old man. I've never been fond of drinking in the first place. Yet, oddly, it's the nasty odour of a brewery that helps clear the mind this time, along with the lack of the establishment's usual hubbub and the occasional clinking of glasses. Even more bizarre is that, through my lack of words, G doesn't say anything. Though it's clear from the way his mouth is curved into a tight frown that he has questions, a bucket load of it, he wisely keeps it shut. Instead, he simply focuses back on his work. Rinse, wipe, stash away, repeat, going through the motions with such familiarity it's almost a trance. Watching his precise movements quietly like this, with these thoughts swimming inside my head, it's easy to lose track of everything around me. One solid lead on this, one possible way to sort this out, but will it work? Especially if my assumption's correct and that the reason Zack was there yesterday morning was because of the curse. Something must have happened there for him to see the need to look into it and break inside that place. What if the couple was fallen victim to the curse? It doesn't fall outside of the realm of possibility. I've been so biased, not even thinking that they might be in danger as well. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
It's likely the moment when Cooper saw it. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away, and if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There are others. What happened to us, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them, or how complicated all this has suddenly become. The letter. The woman. The mansion. And now there are other voices lacing venom inside every crevice of my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride whenever an opportunity presents itself.
It's because you didn't listen.
It's all your fault. Why won't you believe me?
A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. At some point, they all begin to blur together, twining and coiling, every horrid image and memory of her, seeking the forefront of my mind. No matter how much I refuse to remember the fear I felt then, to push it as far back as I can, the visions come to me like a deluge. And before I know it, before I can drown, another voice pulls me out of it.
You doing good there, boy?
His hand is on my shoulders, gripping it tightly and giving me a light shake. There's relief in his face when I finally look up at him, though his frown appears more distinct than the concern in his eyes. It's deeper now, marred with worry and agitation. He does let go when I offer him a small nod, but the furrow between his eyebrows never leaves his face. He's always had a knack for reading people, after all, even someone who can be as closed off or distant like me. In all the time I've spent on the force, there's only one other person who's seen as keen as this old guy, the chief. Funny and weird to some degree. I've pointed out to him so many times before how much they look alike, only for the observation to be brushed off with a vehement tone. Yeah, it's almost like they use kind of the same character model. Just saying. I've never brought it up again after the third time, out of respect for the guy. Whatever it is, it's clear it's something he doesn't want to talk about. Why push, right? However, during times like this, it's impossible for the thought not to come up. He even has the glare down pat. The word scrutiny, I feel like a damn rookie again.
You're looking a bit green. Sure you got plenty of rest back there? You were only out for an hour or two. Wouldn't hurt to try and get some sleep. I'll keep an eye out.
No need. Don't worry about me. I won't be able to get some sleep anyway.
Not with her face still a clear picture in my head, no.
I heard that from you before. Not buying it. What's the story this time? This as bad as that case with the guy who ate his own eyeball?
I wish it were. Jesus, stop reminding me. I hated that case. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you get a kick out of telling people about it.
It's useful, you know, for blokes who don't know their limits. Sends them right out the door after I start with a description. Or was it the part when the poor schmuck gouged his eyes out? Nasty, awful, icky stuff, and it gets the job done. Like I said, useful. Don't even need to call security these days if I want to kick someone out. Anyway, pretty sure that pales in comparison to whatever this is now. I haven't seen you this stressed out since they closed that case. The one from 10 years ago, with your professor friend.
Abigail and her team weren't able to solve that one, G. No one has been able to. It just went cold.
Same difference. But what do I know, eh? I just serve drinks, listen to people's problems and their whining, then make sure they get home safe afterwards. Thing is, I'm also not blind, kiddo. And you can bet your ass I can tell when a person's about to fall apart.
What? Is this some form of therapy from you? Are you going to offer me free drinks now?
Really, I could use some right now. Something to numb the senses. When has that helped anyone?
In your dreams, kid. Last time someone gave you the hard stuff, your photographer friend had to haul you out of this place almost half naked.
Hey, I can handle my liquor when I put my mind to it.
Not from what I've seen, nope. Besides, you usually avoid drinking. Either way, it's out of the equation. And when booze no longer counts, we just talk. So, talk. It's not like anyone within earshot will care. That chap over there only wants his cricket matches.
Yeah, that sounds more like a pub.
I doubt you believe it, G.
I've heard worse stuff. Try me.
You know that mansion down at Anslem?
Yeah, who doesn't? You live in this town long enough, it's impossible not to hear a thing or two about it. Bloody locals.
Well, my friend found a primitive version of a chain letter in there. Now that we've seen it, we're cursed.
A beat passes. For a long moment, G stands there unmoving. His hand stops short of placing the glass he's been wiping prior back to the rack on his left. All the while he stares at me with eyes that are nothing short of scrutinizing. Probably assumes I'm joking. Who wouldn't? Not a week ago, I've been put in the same position. Even now, in spite of the things I've seen and heard, it simply won't sink in. Maybe this is just desperation creeping in. The idea that I may not be able to find a way out of this. Whatever the case is, for people who hasn't experienced what I'm going through, this will merely sound like an awful Halloween prank.
It's not a prank.
This must have been what Isabella felt the whole time we made fun of her that day.
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Now it's too late. We're stuck in a never-ending nightmare. The only way out might be death. Like I've expected, G's reaction to it, and amused laughter. It booms throughout the whole pub after a long bout of silence, like I've just told him a particularly funny joke.
Okay. Good one, kid. You don't want to spill. No one's forcing you. Seriously, though. Good one.
Although I want to be angry with him, I can't find it in myself. Can't even muster the energy for a scowl or a glare. Nothing but a taste of my own medicine to temper the annoyance bubbling up in me, I suppose. In the end, echoing her words is the best I can do.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, alright, good luck with that. You're on your own.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Here I thought you didn't have an ounce of humor in that body. Guess I'm wrong.
He shakes his head, lets out another chuckle before returning to his task. By now, almost half of the glasses have been put away. The only ones remaining are the smaller kind used for shots and stemmed ones for cocktails. Despite being busy with this task, his amusement does not entirely disappear from his face. He keeps talking as if I'm simply another customer he entertains with his stories. But we both know it's more than that. It's if the wistful expression on him says anything.
Man, can't believe you're the same rookie who walked in here almost a decade ago. Too smart for his own good, that boy. He's always been 2 steps ahead of things. Now he's here, sulking.
I must have screwed up somewhere then.
I must have screwed up a lot. For things to suddenly shift like this, for me to become a mere shadow of the person I used to be.
Nah, I don't think so. This one, screwed up? Not by a mile. It's too early to say. You've still got several years ahead of you, Holmes. Take it easy. But some things change, eh? It has been years, and you were a kid back then. You know, the sort that's a bit unsure, making all the horrible decisions in life he'd eventually be embarrassed to talk about.
You never stop calling me kid, though.
Well, you still are. It's just that this time, you're sure of who that badge and gun is for. What was it you police types usually say? To protect and serve, yeah?
A significant pause follows at its heels. From both of us, as he allows its meaning to sink in and spur something in me, stirring a feeling both heavy and forceful, but not completely unwelcome. Familiar. Though before I can even clarify what he's trying to imply or gather my thoughts on the matter, G turns away and begins his work on the silverwares. And I think that's where I will be ending it tonight, my lovelies. I just wanted to wrap up that conversation cleanly and have a nice point to stop at for this evening. Oh boy, so we had a very tense encounter with Luke Wright this evening, although it was thoroughly cathartic with Isabella just managing to get that one glass of water across his dumb, expensive suit. We didn't quite get the right hook that we were hoping for, but with Zackery's possible future on the line, we didn't want to fluff any feathers. So I hope all of you enjoyed tonight's stream. I enjoy this game so much, have so much fun with it. And I do think, just because things have been frustrating with the technical difficulties with my laptop, I think I am going to be putting a pause on my Monday and Friday streams for now, until I've moved to my new place. Because once I've set up in my new place, I'm going to really try and see if I can get things moving again, because I'll have the internet router in the same room and it'll hopefully make things run a lot smoother. So I'm officially putting a pause on my Monday and Friday streams. I deeply apologize for it, but you can understand why I would need to. I hate having to cancel things or putting things on pause for a short while, but I promise I'm going to be doing my best to fix things up in the start of September so that I'll have smooth sailing from there on out, and so we'll be able to get back to Darkest Dungeon and Dead by Daylight. So We might still be doing streams across the rest of the week, because I think we might be able to finish this game before I move at the end of the month if I just switch it so we play the letter on Mondays and Fridays. But I'll talk to the guys in the Discord about what their opinion is, if they don't mind me taking a short hiatus on my Monday and Friday streams, or if they want to still have streams but I stream this game because it's much more consistently smooth. So we'll talk about that over the next couple of days, figure things out. But definitely follow me on Twitter at StephSwanQuills for any updates, unexpected cancellations, unexpected deciding to stream all of a sudden. But it's just because as it's getting closer to me having to move, it's going to get a little bit tense and tricky, so I might have to put the streams on pause for about a week and a half or so while I get things set up with my new place. But it's all stuff you completely understand the reason why. But that is for the future. For now, thank you all so much for joining me this evening. I had a wonderful time as always. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you're enjoying this game as much as I am. And if you've been hanging out in the background and you like what you've seen so far, consider hitting that follow button and opting in for notifications. We would love to have you back at the Blue Rose Respite. So, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I cannot wait to see you again. Perhaps on Friday, perhaps not. I'll talk to the guys in the Discord about it. So, thank you all so much for joining me. And remember, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, stay wicked and wonderful. Good night, guys.